Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Ikaw ba ay umaasa na madraw sa o naghihintay madraw sa express entry at hindi pa parang napapatagalan? This episode is for you. We will be talking about ang nakikitang trend ngayon sa nangyayaring mga draws sa express entry, at least based on recent ones this year. Okay, sige. Ano ba ngayon ang pinakamaraming draw? Saan napupunta? Anong category ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon? Kasama si immigration lawyer Lou Johnson Dangzalan ng ating suke. Thank you again, Lou, for being here.
Hello again.
Okay, nasa na yung email ni Lou. Ayan, sa baba. Okay, Lou, dami pa rin umaasa, hindi pa rin nabubunot. Ano na ba ang trend, observations mo sa latest draws? Again, solely for the express entry lang ang pag-uusapan natin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very, ano bang pwede nating simulan dito, yung jump off point. Bakit hindi natin simulan dun sa latest draw?
Oh, sige, go. You wanna put it
Can I
up?
share my screen?
Para
Yeah, I'll
ikaw-
put it up on
Sige,
my
of
end,
course.
para makontrol ko. Sige, paano ba to? Sorry pa minsan, may pagkalolo si kuya. Here we go. There we are.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
are you seeing this?
Okay. Lou, you're gonna be showing us numbers, but please simplify your explanations. Alam mo
yeah.
naman.
I'll do my best. Yes. So, ito
Okay.
ito yung latest draw. Rounds of invitation. Kung pupunta kayo sa Google or sa yung browser, hanapin yung Express Entry Draws. Yung first result usually sa Google lalabas itong website na to. So, ang pinaka-recent draw was about 27 ngayon. So, 19 of August. So, about 8 days ago. Yung cut-off score was 470. The number of invitations issued were 2,500. Alam naman natin kung paano gumagana ng express entry. So, gagawa ka ng profile, kandidato ka, may score ka. Kung yung score mo sapat for a particular draw, makakatanggap ka ng invitation to apply, yung golden ticket, para makakapag-submit ka na ng PR application. Usually, you have 60 days to submit your PR application. And then, yun nga, maghintay ka na lang. And maganda yung trend sa processing for express entry off-camera, di ba? Nabanggit natin na ang bilis mag-process ngayon ng IRCC. Yesterday lang, I had a client, we submitted the PR application through express entry. Wala pang 30 days, nakatanggap na kami ng email instructing for landing. So,
is that,
ang bilis.
Wait lang, anuhin ko lang yung sinasabi mong less than 30 days na process na yung sa isang PR application mo under express entry. I saw some social media posts of another RCIC saying na parang na-notice din niya pabilis daw ng pabilis ngayon ang processing for such. You also observe the same? Hindi lang ba isa yan?
Absolutely. And siguro tignan natin to through the processing times website of IRCC itself. Kung titignan natin ang express entry, let's say Canadian Experience Class, 5 months. This is an average, di ba? Pero yun nga, tumutulin sila. Case-to-case basis kasi yan eh. Tignan, hindi naman yan automatic 5 months parate. Yung iba bibilis, yung iba hindi. So in my client's case, sinabit namin July 30, today is August 27. Noong 26 lang, nakatanggap na kami ng email na your application is being finalized. So mag-start ka ng landing portal. Kapag nandun ka na kasi sa landing portal stage, Ina, tinatawag na to is approval in principle. So, approved ka na in principle. Kailangan na lang i-formalize yung pagiging permanent resident mo. Doon may backlog. Doon may bottleneck. Pagka nakatanggap ka ng email from them, sasabihin nila, we are experiencing processing volumes na mataas. So, easy lang. And then, on average naman, nakikita namin, pag nag-start na yung landing process by email, pagka kinumpleto mo yung hinihingi nila, usually in 1 month, kuha mo na yung PR mo, yung ECOPR.
Alright, okay. Sige, let's go back to the one you were talking about, yung latest draw. Ano pala yun, category-based healthcare.
Correct. Oo, so siguro maganda, balik tayo one step behind. Let's step back. Ano na ba yung mga draws na nangyari? So this is draws 362, diba? August 19. Before that, may mga draws din in the month of August. Naka-alien sila this month actually. So, August 6, PNP. Pero mababa lang. 55 invitations. CEC, 1,000 invitations. Kaya ang taas ng cut-off score, 534, diba? French language, 2,500. Then pwede natin itong i-park for now. Pag-usapan natin yung French maya-maya. Provincial nominee ulit, 192, 800, diba? Yung lowest rank score. Tapos ito nga, healthcare, 2,500 invitations na 470. So kung inanalo down natin ito to health, tignan mo, oh. So, bumaba siya from 475 to 470.
Yung
But
scores. Okay.
yung most recent draw for healthcare was August 19, but before that was July 22, 4,000. So,
Grabe.
this year, so far, nakaapat na draw na. Pero tingin ko magkakaisa pa, Ina. And why do I say that? Because yung May and June, tignan mo, baba ng cutoff. Anong baba ng number of invitations. And, this is, I guess, like a fearless forecast, basing out of experience and gut feel. And the reason for that is because the year before that, if you look at 2024
Ang
numbers,
dami pala, no? Nung 2020.
exactly. So, ang nangyari kasi nung May tsaka June, kaya ang baba nito, nag-iingat si IRCC. Kasi nung time na to, di ba kakatanggal lang nila ng LMIA points. So, they were making sure na,
Your audio. Your audio. You don't have audio now. Biglang nawala. I don't hear you. Yeah, you press something. Sige.
how about
No?
now?
Yan. You got it. You got it.
Hello?
Pwede na.
Can you hear me?
Okay na.
Perfect. Yeah, nawala nga ako.
You were talking
Sorry,
about
may
back then.
nakalikot lang. Sorry about that.
No problem. Na-cut ka lang when you started talking about how yung Lamia kasi back then, kakatanggal lang ng points for the job offer. Kaya nag-iingat sila, kaya maliit yung draws previously.
Correct. Yeah, so dahan-dahan lang sila nag-restart ng engine, kaya maliliit lang na numbers. Kasi kapag mas matataas yung score, sigurado naman na makakatanggap sila. So sabi ng IRCC niyan, sige, dahan-dahan lang tayo. Siguraduhin natin mataas yung CRS baselines ng mga matatanggap para walang question na talagang may invite talaga sila. So nagawa sila ng 2 draws, May and June. Sinundan ng July, August, isa pa. Feeling ko may isa pa for this year. Tignan natin, abangan ng susunod na banata.
Okay, one more. Pero ang CRS score na ganito, 470, do you think kung matuloy yung sinasabi mong next draw would be with lower scores again? Mababa ba kaya ulit?
That's hard to say. It really will depend on the quality of the pool, which brings us to this part of the website, diba? Previous rounds. Ito, kung pupunta tayo dito sa score distribution, so yung mga nag-click ng statistics dyan, it's time to nerd out. And score distribution may range, diba? So ito yung mga scores, 601 to 1,200, etc., etc. So ito yung number naman on the right side, yung right column. Ang ibig sabihin nito, ito yung mga number of candidates na nandun sa range ng score na yun. So, nasan ba ang bottleneck? Makikita natin ito sa 501 to 600, pati na rin sa 451 to 500, di ba? So, kita-kita na nandito yung candidates. Exactly. So, bakit pa ang dami dyan? Kasi tignan natin, Ina, ito yung favorite line ko noon, pre-pandemic. Ang sinasabi ko sa mga nag-inquire sa akin for immigration to Canada back then, sabi ko, okay, typical Filipino candidate. Let's say, graduate from LaSalle, Ateneo, UP, UST, for example. Ganon. Tapos full bachelors ang nakuha nila sa kanilang ECA. Tapos 3 taon na sila nagtatrabaho sa, let's say, sa CNN, di ba? In a skilled position. Tapos, sabi nila, Lou, pwede ba akong mag-candidate for this? Well, kakalkulahin natin ito. Ang score niya, kung perfect 10 sa English, for example. Typically, if this candidate is under 30 years old, let's say 29, para mabank niya yung education, work experience na sufficient. Itong candidate na to, ang score niya mga nasa 440 to 445, depending kung may spouse or common law partner. Ganun yung range niya. Back in the day, 2018 and before, 440s was a competitive score. Can you believe it?
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. So anyway, so yun nga, nung mga 2018, dahan-dahan na tumataas, nararamdaman na natin yung score cut-off, umaakit na siya ng mga 450, 460. So people were still like, is this like the new normal or bababa ba ito? So yun yung dalawang question. Little did we know na hindi pala siya permanent. hindi siya new normal. In fact, it's gonna get worse. Na yung
Yeah.
new normal na ngayon, as we know, is above 500, 'di ba? Yung cut-off scores.
Grabe.
Kasi kung pupuntahan natin yung score ng previous draws, for example, nasa na ba? Previous rounds, sa natin sa Canadian. Itong mga scores na nakikita natin, Ina, above 500, ang sakit sa
Grabe,
banks.
no?
Diba?
Oo nga.
Sakit talaga sa banks. Pero ngayon nga, ang punto ko dito sa score distribution graph na to is nandito yung bottleneck. So nandito yung mga big candidates. Bakit ba nandaming tao dito sa 451 and 500? Kasi ito yung mga, di ba naalala natin si candidate from the Philippines, 440. So magdagdag tayo sa kanya ng 2-year education program post-bachelor's diploma, for example. Tapos naka-accumulate siya ng, sabihin natin naka-graduate na siya. So plus 25 points kasi perfect yung ano niya English. So from 440s, akit siya by 25 points, so 465. So tumaas ang kanyang score, di ba? Tapos naka-accumulate siya ng 1 year work experience in Canada na skilled. Nasa ng score niya? North of 500 at that point.
I see.
Kung
Okay.
yung age point niya hindi pa nagde-decline. Kasi let's assume yung candidate na to is 29. So syempre mababawasan to ng age points, diba? Pero let's assume this one was 26 nung nagsimula siya. So wala pa siyang 30. Pagtungtong niya dun sa one year experience in Canada na may Canadian work experience, na may Canadian education credentials. So nagpapatong-patong yung mga bonus, umabot siya ng over 500 at that point. Kaya ang daming bottleneck dito sa range na to.
I see. Okay. O sige, balikan natin, Lou, yung nabanggit mo, no, you are expecting one more draw for healthcare. Ano pa ang inaasahan mong just again, syempre sa experience ni Lou, sa kanyang pag-aaral, sa mga previous years draw, what other draws are you expecting? In what category or stream?
One way to do this, to have a look at this, is tingnan natin yung trends, historical trends. Tignan nyo to, yung latest or most recent trade occupations draw under category-based. Kailan pa? October 2024.
Ang tagal. Skilled to.
Tagal na. Oo. So anong ibig sabihin nito? Wala pa siya for 2025. So there's a good chance that 2025 magkakaroon ng trade draw.
Bakit kaya ganun katagal umabot itong trade? Meron bang changes sa eligibility requirements for that? Or occupations na binawas or dinagdag?
Well, alam nating nagbago yung trade occupations. For example, yung celebration nga ng mga kababayan natin, 'di ba, na medyo baka premature. Hindi natin kasi alam kung ano itsura na itong mga draws na to in the future, 'di ba? Kasi nagbago yung listahan. Cooks, 'di ba? So wala pang nadodraw na cooks. Kasi yung change to the list of occupations, nangyari ito earlier this year, 'di ba? So hindi pa siya nasasampulan. So excited ako na makita kung ano yung itsura nito down the road. I highly suspect na magkakaroon ng trades draw this year. Another fearless forecast, shall we say. Isa pa. Ito nagkaroon na.
Yes,
Education.
ayan, yung mga education. Okay.
Pero first time ito this year. So wala tayong historical trend. So unfortunately, we can't really say if trend ba yung once a year, 'di ba? So mahirap siyang sabihin, 'di ba? So, yun yung issue. Isa pa. Ito. Medyo nakaka-alarma to. Tignan mo. Di ba kasi nung una, nung in-announce itong category-based, isa sa mga binanner or hinheadline ng gobyerno or prioritizing science, technology, engineering, and math, di ba? STEM. Ilang draws since na-launch itong program na to? 3. I mean, fair enough, ang lalim nung draw ng 2023 and 2024, pero isa lang. Diba? So, medyo ngarag.
April, more than a year na yung last STEM draw pala, no? Wow.
Magwa 1 year and a half na, Ina. Nakaka-nervyos. For a lot of people, unfortunately. Pero yun nga, tignan mo rin yung cut-off scores, ang taas. Bakit? Kasi itong mga, mga kandidato na to, mga hyper-diplomaed individuals. Diba? Usually, yung mga nasa engineering, may 5-year engineering course or let's say, nakapag-masters pa in mechanical engineering, nagtatrabaho sa startup, etc., etc. So, mga highly educated kasi yung nandito.
Exactly. It's so ironic because, if you ask Canadians, na alam na naman natin, marami sa kanila ngayon, parang piliin nyo na, ang sinasabi, piliin naman ng Canada ng mabuti, yung mga kinukuhang mga PR, ganyan, ano. And these people, yung gusto nilang kunin.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword kasi itong STEM. Kasi STEM workers work in critical industries. I understand that. And in the knowledge sector, yung knowledge-based economy, di ba? So mga tech startups, for example, mga ideation ng mga produkto, ng mga madaming mga ganyan. Itong mga kandidato na to, usually they're very highly mobile. And one of the key characteristics of Canada's immigration system and frustration, shall we say, from a policy perspective, is Canada has a high attrition rate for permanent residents. I think na-cover mo na itong topic na to before, na once na makuha ang permanent residents, paminsan, hindi makakuha ng trabaho, so they end up leaving. Or once na makuha ang citizenship, layas. Hanap ng mas malaking opportunity. Itong mga STEM workers na to, subject din tayo to brain drain to another country. Yung kakabi, yung nasa US, sa Silicon Valley, di ba? Siyempre, kung sweldo mo sa Toronto, for example, in a startup, sabihin natin, $250,000 a year. Malaki-laki, di ba? Isipin mo. Pero paano kung binulag ka ng isang startup sa Silicon Valley sa San Jose for $550,000 US?
Grabe, no?
Parang hirap tanggihan, di ba? Tapos Canadian citizen ka na. Tapos engineer ka. So, ibig sabihin, yung pag-apply mo ng work visa sa US, napakadali. Because you're going to go through CUSMA. So, may mga ganong factors.
Okay. Nako. And you mentioned yung landing inventory, no? Meron kang share sa akin na data. Should I put it up now? Yung
you can,
for Canadian experience class?
Yeah, go for it. Okay. This is very interesting, ano?
Yeah.
Makita natin yung landing trends.
Sige. Ito, medyo guys, napaka-laki nito. But we're just gonna focus doon sa nasa upper left part, which I believe kinrap ko na nga eh. Teka nga, para yun lang ma-zoom in natin. Dito na ba?
Try ko rin sa end ko, ha?
Here. Okay, I got it.
You got it? Okay. Perfect.
Sige. Please explain to us. Naku po, teka, ang laki pala naman masyado nitong nilagay ko, no? Teka.
Pwedeng i-zoom out.
Yeah, hindi. Picture siya. You wanna zoom it in from your end?
Oh, let me try. Hold on.
Sige.
I think so.
Muna to. Ayan. Ang hirap
Sorry, ang dami ko kasing windows na bukas. Middle of the workday. Kaya medyo naguguluhan ako. Ano ba to?
Ito papakita ni Lou, yung landing inventory. Basically, yung helps us see yung priority sa pag-draw sa experience class, right? Ano ba? Or express entry?
Iba-iba actually. So, ano na nakikita ninyo? Ito.
Here.
Yan. Mas kita, ano?
Okay.
Ayan. So, i-align ko lang tong windows ko para nakikita ko ano nangyayari. Wait lang. Ayusin natin yan. Don't worry.
Okay. There you go.
And voila. Perfect.
Okay.
Yan. Mas kita na yan. Okay, so itong chart na to, very interesting kasi ano ba to? Inventory. Ibig sabihin, ito yung applications in process sa IRCC. Kung ilan yung mga pinaprocess nila at a particular given time. So it's a snapshot, in other words. So, nakita nyo yung column, it says landing inventory, end of 2024, and it's compared with end of 2025. Kasi ito yung mga different programs na kung saan meron silang inventaryo ng mga pinaprocess ng mga aplikante for permanent residents. So makita mo, top line dyan is Canadian Experience Class. Pangalawa, Federal Skilled Workers, FSW, tapos Skilled Trades. Ito yung tatlong banner programs under Express Entry, di ba? So tignan mo, 2024, number of CEC candidates, 5,000 versus FSW candidates, 14,000, di ba? Ano ba yung difference between CEC and FSW, Ina? Well, yung FSW, global yan. So kahit nasa labas ka ng Canada, candidate ka. Pero yung
Okay.
Canadian experience class, you need to have at least 1 year or 12 months of skilled work experience in Canada as an employee, di ba? So,
Mm.
noong 2024 nga, 5,000, 2024 for FSW, 14,000. Pero noong 2025, tignan mo, nag-iba.
Wow. A
Trumiple
big
yung
jump
number, di
dun
ba?
sa CEC. Oo.
200% increase for CEC. Bakit? Kasi una sa lahat, yung draws in Canada. Kung titignan natin yung draws sa Canada nga, balik tayo dun sa isang pinakita natin kanina. Stop
Point
screen.
out ko lang,
Ayan.
Luna, banggit mo let's just stress, yung nasa landing inventory, these are basically, as you mentioned earlier, approved in principle na yung kanilang PR applications. Tama ba?
Hindi naman. Ibig sabihin,
Not yet.
pinaprocess yung kanilang application. Oo.
Alright,
So, ito
okay.
yung interesting. So, tignan nyo 2025. Naku, puro Canadian experience class, di ba? Nasa na si Federal Skilled Worker. Since 2023, isa lang, kita nyo, nakafocus sa FSW.
Alright.
Ito pa, general. Kung ibig sabihin general, all programs. Since April of 2024, walang general draws. In other words, Canada is pursuing a policy of focusing on candidates who are in Canada. Pero tandaan natin, ibig sabihin ba na kapag qualified ka sa CEC, automatic ba nasa Canada ka? The answer is no. Ibig lang sabihin nito, mas mataas yung chances na nasa Canada ka dahil nakaka-accumulate ka ng Canadian experience class. 'Di ba? Kasi yung window period niyan is last 3 years. So, napakagandang window into the soul of IRCC itong table na pinapakita nga natin dahil nga nakita natin yung shift ng numbers, lumipat yung bigat ng applicants, yung inventaryo nila from FSW to Canadian experience class. I suspect na ito kasi end of February lang ito, di ba?
Yeah.
I suspect that as we go on into into 2025, makikita ninyo puro Canadian experience class ito. Tapos makikita ninyo na bababa yung number ng federal skilled workers habang maubos yung inventaryo nila. Dito din sa table na to, interesting kasi kino-compare din. Tinitignan din nila yung ibang programs, di ba? Even non-economic programs like family class. Tignan mo, parents, grandparents. Dami pala sa inventaryo nila for parents, grandparents. Kasi mabagal ang processing times for that. And they're doing this deliberately, by the way. Processing times for them is a way to control the numbers, yung intake ng Canada, so that they meet the immigration targets for permanent residents. So, ganun din. Domestic, overseas. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ito yung family class, ito yung anong tawag dito, pag sinasponsor si spouse, si common law partner, or children. Domestic, ibig sabihin, inside Canada, overseas, well, overseas, di ba?
A big chunk talaga, no? Family sponsorship ang kinukuha, yeah.
So, hindi naman siya masyadong gumalaw actually. Yung inventory nila is about the same pa rin. Pero yung overseas tumaas. Tignan mo.
Yeah.
11,000 to 16,000. So that's about a 30-35% just eyeballing it in terms of increase. Diba?
Yeah.
Versus yung domestic, yung in-Canada applications, 3,400, bumaba siya to 3,100. Diba? So that's very interesting. So ano ibig sabihin nito? Dumadami yung mga applicants from outside. What's happening? I'm waiting for more data. Tignan natin.
Sige.
Kasi yun, humanitarian and compassionate. Dami pang
yung
data.
isa na I know, priority rin talaga ngayon, yung draws under the Francophone program.
Okay, that's interesting.
Marami na rin ba tayong mga kababayang you think, Lou, medyo nainganyo mag-aral ng French to boost their chances?
Yes. Oo. Actually, ang dami sa mga clients ko ngayon na nakatimbre na dun sa kasi dahil nga we have the power of a group of individuals. So trinay namin magnego ng magandang rate for our clients. So nakahanap kami ng maayos na tutor, and thankfully this tutor has proven work naman kasi nga na-assist na niya yung isang client namin before to get to an acceptable level para sa kanyang French, 'di ba?
Okay. Ito. Ang daming kinukuha dito sa mga French speakers, no? Tignan nyo.
Since 2023, ito about 21 entries. There have been 21 draws under the French language since 2023 July. up to present. The most recent one was being August 8. The cutoff score was 481. So ito yung trend na medyo naabala na nabagabag ako nung isang linggo. Kasi tignan mo to.
Tumaas yung score.
'Di ba? So tingnan mo yung data for 2025. February was 6,500 invitations, 428. Tapos biglang next month, 4,500 invitation, 410. Ito na yung mga bandang nagagalit sa akin yung mga immigration lawyers na iba. Sabi nila, oh my God, paano naman yung mga iba? Iba parang kailangan natin ng healthcare workers, etc. So, yeah, pero kasi legislated priority ito ng Government of Canada, 'di ba? May mandate ang Minister for Citizenship and Immigration under the Official Languages Act of Canada that when they're crafting their immigration levels plans for Canada, that they should take into consideration yung linguistic balance within Canada to respect the rights of minorities. So protected language kasi ang mga minority languages such as French in the rest of Canada. So this is interesting kasi yun nga, tignan mo, although I understand.
Pababa, or so we thought. Yung
yun na. Pero kasi tignan mo, ang dami kasi nilang dirino for this year, diba? For 2025, 6.5, 4.5, 7.5, taas, diba? So parang nag-slow down sila ng konti for this August, 481. Ang cutoff score, 2,500. So one of the reasons why it's a higher cutoff score is because, yun nga, mas konting invitation. Loss of supply and demand, diba?
Alright.
Babalik tayo ng statistics. Pero nakakabahala din siya kasi kung titignan mo, meron din naman dito na 800 lang, di ba? Pero yung score, bakit ganun, di ba? So parang kung titignan mo siya, kung babalansin mo siya from a statistical point perspective, parang ang ibig bang sabihin nito, yung mga candidates for French na nasa pool na nakumukuha ng French, matataas yung kanilang baseline CRS scores. The answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Tsaka dumami na rin yung mga nag-a-apply. No?
Marami na rin candidates na nag-a-avail ng Francophone. Sabi ko nga, mga clients ko, yung mga successful ko for under Francophone, nakatatlo ako this year. For example, 2 kasi native French speakers. Pero yung isa, Pinoy, na from zero, nakuha niya. Diba? Pero nagsimula siya last year pa. Kasi last year pa namin siya tinimbrehan. Yeah. So yun nga. So, hindi siya nag-iisa. Dami na nag-aaral ngayon.
Yeah. Okay. O, Lu, ano pa? Baka meron ka pang share mga fearless forecast. Ano bang mga draw ang pinaka-inaabangan ng mga Pilipino? I think yung OINP well, it's not under express entry, no? Pero sige, maybe we can do a separate one on that later on.
Well, on express entry healthcare, yun ang isa pang talagang inaabangan ng mga kababayan natin kadalasan dahil marami sa atin mga healthcare workers, di ba? This year, naka-apat na draws na ang Canada, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So, ito yung mga draws for 2025. Titingnan natin historically, ano ba itsura ng mga draws? Ito, 2024, nakatatlo. Ito yung numbers. Diba? 3,000, 3,750, 3,500. Pero sasabihin mo, but Lou, wait, hindi ba pababa dapat yung number ng PR according to the levels plan? Correct. Yeah. You would be correct. But it is also correct na yung proportion ng levels plan nakatilt towards federal programs, including category-based draws, including express entry. If you look at the levels plan, saan nila kinuha yung absolute numbers na yun? From the provincial nomination. Hindi ba kayo nagtataka? Bakit halos walang draws ang British Columbia nomination program, ang OINP, ang Alberta? Bakit kulang sa draws? Kapag kinausap mo yung mga provincial immigration departments, sila magsasabi sa'yo, actually may mga nakausap kami before. Sobrang kinuha talaga yung mga slots from them. So overall, the number is going down. Pero in terms of proportion, dumadami sa federal programs, including express entry. Pero yung express entry ngayon, naka-program siya to capture people who are in Canada. Why? Because Canada wants to focus on in-Canada draws because it has zero impact sa social housing and health demands.
Yan. Oo nga, you don't need to get people from outside and add to the current population.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Pero yung target, diba, is like they want to stabilize the immigration programs.
Ay, nawala si Lu. Hold on, hold on.
Ay!
Yeah,
Ayan.
yeah.
They just want to give a chance for the infrastructure, for the social services, healthcare system to catch up and take a breather, basically. So, ang pinaka-watershed moment dito as a final point is 2027. Anong itsura ng immigration levels plan after this 3-year cycle? Abangan.
Okay. Last na lang, Lu. Ito, quick lang. Anong masasabi mo dun sa mga umaasa nating kababayan sa express entry? Hindi ma-draw and then they're seeing na mukhang hindi bumababa ang cut-off scores. Ano bang dapat nilang gawin? And they're already here. Many of them, inside Canada.
Ang hirap, Ina. Alam mo, actually, ang dami kong consultations since January. In the last 2 months, sobrang ang haggard ng mga consultations. Ano bang pwede ko ipayo? Face the music. If you're over 35 and isang taon na lang natitira sa inyong PGWP, kung wala pa kayo nakalatag na backup plan, face the possibility that you may have to leave Canada, which is very sad dahil laki ng pinundar ninyo. So talagang pakiramdam budol talaga, di ba? Isa pang advice na masasabi ko is the earlier you have a plan and the earlier you have backup plans, plural po, backup plans, the better. So, ibig sabihin, kailan ba to dapat na-implement? Ideally, even before you leave Canada, leave for Canada. Ideally, sa program selection pa lang kapag student pathway, di ba? Ideally, dapat dun pa lang talaga. Kasi sa program selection, pwede mong ma-visualize kung saan career trajectory ka papunta. In demand ba to? Para kung over 35 ka, pasok ka ba sa isang occupation na high demand na kaya mong sungkitin yung iyong nomination to the category-based draws or through the provincial nomination? Or baka pwede ka mag-aral sa isang community or pwede kang madestino with your temporary foreign worker permit. Diba? Sa isang community na malakas ang RCIP, diba? Or malakas ang Atlantic Immigration Program. Or better yet, kung talagang medyo ka po sa budget, French. Right? That's an option.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as always, Lu, thank you so much for this very extensive, detailed discussion on the latest express entry trends. Maraming salamat sa iyo. We will end this episode here, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Thanks, Lu!